core part of the Aston workshop's business is restoration. We get our cars from all around the globe. You name it and we get cars from there. You wouldn't believe where you find old Astons. The cars come in any state of repair, and the basic philosophy is that we strip them right down to the last nut and bolt, and we start work from that point.
We can take the remains of a car with what can be described as scrap or a wreck, and from that we build it back into the finished article, which is as new, an Aston Martin back from the dead. The facilities we have at the Aston workshop are second to none. We've developed over the years the necessary equipment for the full restoration of the older cars, the stands, the fitting equipment, and complement that with the newer equipment of the hoists and modern day equipment. It all works very well together. The body shop specialises in the restoration. They can work with both the aluminium metals and the steel. When the restoration work is carried out, that the chassis has been fully repaired, it is then metal sprayed and powder coated. This provides a level of protection which Aston Martin never had. An original Aston Martin bought in the 60s would last 6 to 7 years. And then you would see the corrosion, the rot, the blisters. Now, with this protection that we put into the chassis, we can go 10, 15, 20 years and have a car equally as good as new. The body shop is fully equipped with English wheels, the guillotines, all the metal forming facilities that we require. The paint shop is state-of-the-art with modern heated paint booth using the water-based paints. In there they can spend some 300 to 400 hours in preparing a car to paint.
Everything is taken back all the way down and started afresh. It's all new metal, everything. Then we'll fill the cars, prime them, paint them, everything through to polishing.
Engineers, most of them are long-time served engineers, what we class as mechanics, as opposed to nowadays we have fitters. They know all the ins and outs of the cars, and of course with specialising in the Astons for so many years, they have an intimate knowledge of all the parts, all the fittings, and just exactly what makes them tick.
It's a pleasure to come to work actually. These are classic British old cars which were hand built, and it's really a pleasure to put them together.
Well, there's never 2 days the same when you're working on Aston Martin. The hardest work is the stripping of the original car, which can be in the right state, totally corroded shell, seized nuts, seized bolts. We know the little quirks and how to get round things, how to make things fit.
I worked in the service area at Aston Martin's at Newport Pagnell in 1965-66 area. And then in 1982, I was asked to go over and work on the production side, producing engines, and like with my nameplate on. For me, as I say, if you cut the top of my head off, like you see Blackpool through a stick of rock, you'd probably see Aston Martins on the top of my head. The process of the engine restoration is the fitters on the shop floor remove the engine from the car and bring it to me with the gearbox on, and I commence on completely stripping the engine to the bare bones. The machine shop will do their bit, put the liners in and inline bore the block.
Oh, the machine shop uses state-of-the-art machinery. We have CNC line boring equipment. We can balance crankshaft and clutches to Formula 1 standards. And we've really invested in the best equipment so that we can manufacture some of the best engines you'll find.
Because of the modern machining techniques that we have now and the materials have changed over the years, we're able to produce things which far surpass the original engine or component when it was produced, say, from the 1950s, 1960s. We can basically improve everything within the engine to make it perform better. We can also engineer into the engine's reliability, more power, and basically create an engine that looks as it should do, but have the internals highly modified.
Well, we're always looking at ways to make improvements to the way these cars handle. And now we're putting power steering and modern gearboxes in a lot of the cars.
Neat and tidy.
When restoring the cars and building with customer specification, we get the requests for various upgrades. Popular one being the right-hand to left-hand drive at the present time. We can fit air conditioning, central locking. We have customers who actually go to the lengths of requiring electric controlled memory type seats, which you would associate more with the new Mercedes or Rolls-Royce than you would with the 1960s Aston Martin.
We fit carburettor upgrades, suspension upgrades, brake upgrades, and they all have to be, in some cases, engineered to fit this vehicle.
When I've completely rebuilt my engine, then it is put on the dyno to be run and tested to get its torques, make sure there's no problems. If there's any problems, it's sorted out on there. You know, that's what it's all for. And they'll fit it. And as soon as they've fitted it and all the electrics and everything's ready, then I'll go and start it up, make sure everything's all right. Once I'm happy with it, then they carry on.
The whole passage of this car through the workshop is done as a team build. When it gets to this stage and it's the shiny bits putting it back together, it's easier. Difficult, but easier. A little quirk of ours is when we fit screws onto a vertical panel, we have the slots going down and up. Some say that's to let the water run out. We just like it that way.
The quality build is there in all of them, and then the customer specification on top of that gives them they're considered best Aston Martin in the world.
I just love to see these old wrecks of barn find cars being transformed and given a new use of life. It's absolutely amazing to see.
And it's a real pleasure to do it and to see it finally on the road and to do another 20 or 30 years.
For me, Aston Martin's the best car in the world. End of story. You'll never hear me say anything different.